I mean, looking at it, you could say he was quite obviously in the kitchen, because customers don't go there. They wouldn't have taken the chance of just putting him in one of the other booths where he might not be seen. The old man could have gone and sat in the one across from it. A piece of evidence that shows where he was. I mean, this was found covered in unidentified fingerprints in the kitchen. If they're unidentified, maybe not Glen Elg's. So, but I mean, obviously his prints would be on there, though. So why doesn't it say Glen Elg's and some of the prints? So maybe they just didn't test for the prints at all. They could just be Glen Elg's. They just know there are prints on them, but they didn't run them. They forgot. But they could still be two people's prints. I'm just wondering if Jean Armstrong actually stole it because he steals shit from his customers. Literally part of his rap sheet, which we were given. Yeah. Prior convictions for theft from his customers. But there's nothing here that shows evidence. No? Evidence? What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? I thought I had him with that contradiction. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead. Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Mr. Elk concealed? I mean, it couldn't be outside. We haven't seen anywhere of the outside apart from the park. Although they could have put him in one of the giant fucking, like the big strawberry or something in the park. But I always got the impression the old guy ran towards the park to look for a phone around there, but there is no payphone in the park. And it is literally round the corner. They could have just brought him back in, but surely witnesses, yeah, there's a potential for witnesses to see you. I wouldn't, if I killed a guy and then I wanted to stage the crime to create a witness and frame someone, I wouldn't risk taking the body away from where it was. I would try and hide it really, really close by so you have time to quickly switch them without dragging a body through the street. So I think it's inside Très Bien. It would have had to be, it would have been too dangerous to take the body outside, obviously. The body must have been hidden somewhere inside Très Bien. Interesting, but where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you could care to show the court on these plans. Okay. Yes, Your Honor. So the exact location where it was concealed is the kitchen. The body was hidden here. I see. Nice supposition. The real question is, can you back it up? No, I can't. Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? Well, I'm just going to throw this in there and say this vial is his ear medicine, and it was found in the kitchen. How did it get there? Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? No. No. I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only have the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality only for me. Where was the bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Très Bien. Oui? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains medication. What kind of medication? I'm sure everybody remembers, don't they? That Mr. Elg visited an ear clinic. I can't say that word, there's too many syllables. And was given medication that day. Oh, there it is, the no coffee, we've been waiting for that. Bing! You can't be serious. The defense had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results right here. The contents of the bottle match the prescription that was given to Mr. Elg. Poor. Glenn Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, which is also a health code violation. We should probably arrest the guy for that too. At which time this bottle probably fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Mon Dieu. Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. No! Order! Order! This is an extraordinary development. Witness. Did you murder Mr. Glenn Elg? Murder is less important than the health code. I'm okay with that. Yes. It's like, you can kill anybody you want, but I'm serious. If you cook my food near a corpse, I'm coming for you. Do not even. No. Never. I could not do such an horrible thing. No. Mr. Godot. Oh, the bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? I do, he's had 15. You're keeping count. Although I think if he said that was a mug, we should count that as another one. Ding! Because he said a whole mug. He's just drunk a whole one. And I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with an empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend? Demand the pardon, please. You must hear me out. It is a trap. Listen to me, por favor. Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish. I said it, didn't I? Did I not say it at the beginning of, like, this guy's character showing up? That I was role-playing a guy who was clearly not fucking French. That's why I'm so bad at a French accent. I'm just accurately portraying how bad he is. He doesn't speak French. I knew it. I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it? No. No, no. Absolutely no. Let's hear it. You've got one shot. Right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you. As does my gavel. And I guess Phoenix's boot. Oui, it is clear. What do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this. Very well, begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong. The confession. It is true, I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason I could not refuse. You know what that is. But I did not kill him, I swear it. You must believe me. Now we get into the truth. You were forced? By who? I cannot say or I will be erased. Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elg died, was he really the only person at his table? There was. There was another man. I knew it. Maggie was telling the truth. You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. There's just one more thing I need to do. Gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. Well, we already know. The reason he was forced to do it is because he's in debt to the tiger. And he's the one who killed him because Glenn Elg was also in debt to the tiger. And the tiger's calling in his debts. So we hid the body in the kitchen. Let's just press it anyway. Did you carry the body by yourself? Oui, I carried him, and I carried Maggie too. Maggie too? When she saw the victim, she collapsed and fainted. I could not leave her there. But why did you hide the bodies? Because we knew the Gramps was coming. A man forced me to do it, I have no choice. What man? Who was he? No, I cannot say. I fear for my life. He's really scared. You'll just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick. Yep, you're right. If you won't tell me, I'll tell him. But why would you go along with this man? Reasons we could not say, you could not refuse. What reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong? You know, monsieur. Yes? Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment. Maiden? You're a bit old to get away with that. And a bit too male. Don't judge, Maya. I can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reasons, so I'll just have to prove it with evidence. We'll come back to that after we've pressed everything. We had to go along with him, there was a reason, but he did not kill him, we have to believe him. So, you're claiming that all you did was hide the bodies, is that correct? Oui, that's right. If we are to believe you, Mr. Armstrong, you must tell the court everything. You must make clear the identity of the man who ordered you to do this. He's already confessed this much, he may as well stop dancing around the real issue. Yeah, but he really doesn't want to tell us who the killer is. Then sock it to him, Nick. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. So we're going to force him. There was a reason we could not refuse. Pretty sure we used the debt letter. His loan contract for $500,000, the owner of the loan is Tender Lender, which is Furio Tigre. That's his company. You have a $500,000 debt, don't you? $500,000? Is this true, Mr. Armstrong? Oui. Je suis désolé. I probably butchered the shit out of that. I was weak and I borrowed la money. This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that's why you couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man. Furio Tigre. A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything. Anything this man told you to do. Oui, it is as you say. Mr. Armstrong. La Tigre. He told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried la body and la inconscient. Inconscient? That is not a word I've ever heard used. I'm going to say unconscious Maggie out of the dining area. And into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen. I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison and the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket, was that your doing as well? No! I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it, I was not. It is despicable. Mr. Godot, you will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. This is what he says. Actually, he's waiting outside. Oh god, he is going to do it, isn't he? 30 minutes. What? The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. Oh, he's gonna go get shit done. Hell yes. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand, not a minute more. How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, Trite. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way. Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. Cool. Alright. About 20 minutes early, but I need to take my first break here, guys. Okay. Oh, helps if I actually... Oh, don't alt-tab out of the game. Yeah, we're probably going to finish early today. This isn't a good sign. Oh my goodness. So we're finally going to see the tiger on the stand. We've almost got this case won now, Nick. I wish I could agree. Huh? When I cross-examined Mr. Armstrong just now, he said he was just doing what the tiger told him to do. But Godot picked up on it, remember? Pointed out that without proof, we don't know if what he testified to is the truth. You mean you think Mr. Armstrong was lying? I don't know, but if that's the line the prosecution takes, we could be in trouble. I get the feeling that we don't have a case-making evidence we're going to need. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe. What are you so jumpy about, Detective? Your hair's standing on end. Hey, that's the pot calling the kettle black, little Miss Top Knot. It's not a top knot. It so is. Never mind about the hair, just calm down, alright? I can't stand still when I don't have a job to do. I get kind of wound up. Ah! No kidding. You gotta have something you need me to do, pal. Anything. Well, hey, if I'm gonna take a jog back down to the precinct, I could get some prints analysed if you've got an hour. An hour? The trial will have reconvened by then. But Nick, we still have a really decisive piece of evidence, right? True, without some kind of trump card to pull out of the bag, we're really stuck. You said you could get some fingerprint analysis done in an hour. You bet. In that case, would you mind checking up on the prints on this for me? Oh no. Well, what do we have? We could ask for that. We know this has been fingerprinted all to hell. It only bears Maggie's fingerprints, because of course they wiped the bottle down and then put her prints on it with her hand. Hey Luigi! What did you miss? What did you miss? So, we had the second day of the trial, and we got John Armstrong on the stand and we broke him apart. He testified that the reason Victor Kudo got everything the wrong way around is because he put mirrors in the thing that day, but we've proven there were none by disproving where the guy was sitting, because the only place he could have seen the reflection from the mirror, the right way around, the vase wasn't broken on the table. So that pulled apart. We then pushed further and further and pressured him into admitting that what actually happened was Glenn Elg was murdered sometime after 1:30 when the lottery was drawn. He was certainly sitting, he's confessed it, he was certainly sitting with another person. We believe it was the tiger. And that he was killed. Maggie passed out, he then hid both of them in the kitchen, and then when Mr. Kudo showed up around 2 PM, they got a fake Glenn Elg to walk through the door. They meaning Viola and Furio. And they staged a fake poisoning, which is why some of Kudo's details don't add up, like they had the earpiece and an eardrum that was ruptured. It was a fake poisoning to create a witness showing clearly that a waitress, you know, poisoned the coffee. And then, of course, that waitress would have been Maggie Bird. But I think it was actually Viola that did it. And yes, eventually Phoenix turns out to be the real mastermind and he killed everybody. But I was saving that Freya. That's the You know, that's the suspense, that's the plot twist. You've just ruined it. Spoilers, you're banned. How dare you? No. So that's what you've missed so far. And now, we're waiting for them to get Furio here. Because we proved the connection between Jean Armstrong with his debts and Furio Tigre and the $500,000 that he owes Furio. So he's already admitted that he was complicit in helping stage the murder for the sake of having a witness, Mr. Kudo. And that the murder happened earlier and he lied about it all. Oh fuck no! So there you go, that's what's happened and that's how you... now what we have to do. We need to get this guy to fingerprint something. I'm tempted to get this done. The MC Bomber disc. But, I mean, obviously we're supposed to get the small bottle of ear medicine done. Covered in an unidentified fingerprints in the kitchen. It's obviously going to be the victims, though. It could have only ever been the victims or Armstrongs. Beyond that, it was just... because that tied the victim to being taken to the kitchen. I don't think that's got much of anything to do with anything. We know that the guy goes, from Tenderlander goes to Tribulations because he had a matchbook. It's gotta be this. What are you doing, Nick? If Detective Gumshoe's going to check some prints for us, shouldn't he be checking this? That's the small bottle I gave back to you this morning, right? The victim's ear medication that we found in the kitchen? Look, it even says covered in unidentified fingerprints right in the court record. You're right. Actually, that's been gnawing at me too. So you'll look into that for us, awesome. Okay, fine. But, I mean, I'd rather know whose prints are on the frigging disc so that we can show that the guy took the disc and connect him to the victim because the disc... But okay, whatever game. Do it your way. I'm only the player. What do I know? Jesus. What about the thing I asked you to run a check on? Oh, that? Sure. I'll see what I can do if I've got any spare time. Sure. I feel so unimportant right now. Small bottle given to Gumshoe. I'll just keep the disc. Sure. I'll get this off to the lab right away. Just make sure you don't lose the case before I get back, pal. Covered for him there. This is pretty much the final showdown, I guess. It's time to separate the phonies from the real guys, the egg yolks from the whites, the men from the boys, the wheat from the chaff, the diamonds from the rough. The doves from the pigeons. Anything else that needs separating? Court will now reconvene. Mr. Godot, did you find this Furio Tigre? Yeah, the cowboys from the Indians. The cops from the robbers. Yeah. I even tamed him for you. It was a 3-cup job, no problem. Tamed him? The guy's named name maybe Furio Tigre, but come on. He's pretty lively. Be careful, he still bites. I love Godot, he's brilliant. He's the best prosecutor we've had so far. So chilled. So poetic. I can't wait to see who he actually is. Very well, please show Mr. Tigre to the stand. Witness, please state your name and... Ah! Maya's hiding under the table now. Don't hide under the table, Maya, unless there's room for me down there too. Would you mind? What'd you say to me? Nothing. I didn't say nothing. Nothing. I didn't say nothing, honest. I didn't say nothing to nobody. Who could have guessed that fear would induce a bad Brooklyn accent in the judge? I got business to take care of, you hear me? Who the hell called me into this hole? Was it you, Spiky? No, of course not. We have the same hairstyle. It was the judge. Oh, shit. Yeah, there was a judge there a moment ago, Your Honor. Oh dear, I seem to have dropped my pen. Where on earth is it? Don't mind me, just carry on the proceedings as normal. That's it, we're doomed. Maybe you didn't hear me. I said, who the hell was it that called me in here? That would be Godot. There's no need to shout. We can all hear you. What'd you say? No point struggling. You're caught in a snare. Relentless snare of the law. I'm the one that hauled you in. Damn, Godot. Slap him down. He whacked him right on the snout. Too cool. Don't let him get the better of you, Nick. So he's the person under the table. Let's start with the basics. You know about the incident in question, correct? Incident? I don't know nothing about no stinking incident, mass boy. You mean you didn't attend the previous trial of Maggie Bird? Maggie who? I got more important things to do than watch courtroom dramas. Of course, well, perhaps you could give us your testimony then. Please tell us about what you did on the day of the murder. Phoenix Wright. Oh? You's the one that set this up, did you? You's gonna regret the day you ruffled the tiger's fur. You hear what I'm saying? Maybe I should have brought a diaper with me today. Or a cattle prod or something. Get a grip, Nick. Says the person under the table. I don't know nothing about no murder. I was tied up with business in December last year, spent all my time in the office. I got whales lined up to borrow cash from tender lender every single day. Yous want to check my alibi? Ask Violetta. Well, we already know they had an appointment. Oh, at last I found my pen. Very well then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. What is it? Please, witness, if you could refrain from shouting out like that. I know the kind of games that guys in the blue plays. That lowlife ain't no lawyer. He just punches away at stupid details till he wins. Lowlife, me? Listen up, smarty. Every time you ask me something that doesn't relate to this case, I'm gonna bill you like 50 grand. And you's gonna borrow the cash from me. That's one loan contract I refuse to sign. And don't think it ain't gonna hurt when you tangle with the tiger. I love a good spectator spot. You know, we should probably count that as his first new cup of coffee because we just, I mean, unless that's one he was drinking at the end of the last part half an hour ago, he has had a new one. So we'll call that now another cup. So this is 10 so far, on top of the last streams. I love a good spectator sport. Just a minute, that's really not... The witness is, how can I put it, a hungry tiger roaming the urban jungle. Get on his bad side, and he'll bite everyone's hands off. Or heads off. Yours too. Very well. I have no choice but to impose a penalty system here. You'd better be listening. I said I got business to take care of. Big business. If I don't split now, I ain't gonna catch my bus. Catch his bus. He'll catch the next one. The court will impose a penalty for any irrelevant pressing of witness testimony. Fuck. That's how I live and breathe. You can't deny me my breath. Fine. Keep that in mind as you begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yeah, the bus to prison. Exactly. Yes, Your Honor. You can do it, Nick. Come out from under there already, would you, Maya? Don't know nothing about a murder. Okay. Tied up with business in December last year. Spent all my time at the office. Can we fuck with that? Third of December, meet with the tiger. It doesn't say where though, does it? That's the thing. It doesn't say where he was gonna meet. But this does show that he didn't just stay in the office, but when did he get the matchbook? No date. Spent all this time in the office, got whales lined up to borrow cash from Tenderlander every single day, check my alibi, ask via letter. What was the medical thing? I mean, that was payment due last year, $1 million for cranial surgery. As we know, about a month ago, he did crash into her with his scooter. He rides around on that thing. And he paid for the damage to the car, but then he also paid for her surgery. Because that's her granddaddy. Biggest mob boss in the city. So yeah. It's either that or some concrete galoshes and off to the nearest canal with you, my friend. Tied up with the business in December, spent all this time at the office. This is the thing we need to disprove. So, it's either that or that. But that doesn't say where. But it says December the 3rd. And let's be honest, one of these matchbooks, if there's still matches in them, unless he had that for months. He could say he got it this month, or he could have said, I went there yesterday. This murder was a month ago, this wasn't a recent thing. Let's see how far we get with this. Yeah, I think the calendar too, you're absolutely right, Luigi. Ooh, boy. Right, let's just go through all this, blah 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 blah. Should have saved it anyway. Da 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 da. Oh right, okay. What am I doing? Let's just read what they actually say. Just think, all you have to do is press him on something irrelevant and bam, 50 grand. Get real, Maya. How about you pay back the money then? Your allowance should cover it. Hey, I'm no idiot, you know. Well, I'm certainly not the one who thought the 50 grand was free money. Anyway, I need to work this guy without pressing his testimony too hard. But his testimony is pretty solid as it is. I admit nothing jumps out at me as a contradiction, but I've got to find an opening somewhere or I'll need to make one. So, I think we're allowed to press, just as long as it's not relevant. We can't just jump in. We've got to create an opening by pressing something and getting his testimony amended. And then we can show stuff. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, sometimes their expression changes. And that can be a clue. But not always, I've found. Sometimes he's just been very expressive. Let's press. Are you sure about that? We're talking about 1 month ago, you know. You see these teeth? That's how sharp my secretary is. Sharp? He's not talking about Violetta Cadaverini. She writes everything in my scheduler. December, mainly in the office. That's what it says, so that's where I was. That seems like a rather sketchy schedule. There he goes again. Tiger did all December isn't an issue. What's important is what he was doing on the day of the murder, so what now? Mr. Tigra, what do you want? If you wouldn't mind going into a bit more detail. This is a dead-end Triton, you know it. Remember the rules. No, it's essential that we establish the witness's alibi accurately. I agree. The victim was killed on December the 3rd. Were you in the office that day too? Maybe you ain't listening. Of course I was. I never set foot outside. I had meetings all day with a bunch of cats wanting to do business with me. I ain't never seen that young kid before. I do believe the witness's last statement was important. Mr. Godot, if you could please. Mr. Tigra, the court asks you to add the last statement to your testimony. Don't let an animal beat you. Be a man, Your Honor, and ask him yourself. Fed up with business, spent all the time at the office. The day you was talking about, I was in the office too and never saw the kid before. Cool. Well, I want to press one more time, see what he says. But I think this is the one we press with the calendar, because it's like, well, obviously this kid had a meeting with you, so... You didn't know Mr. Glenelg, really. I don't mess with the guppies when there's bigger fish to fry. What do you say, boss? Who? Me? How's about I hit you with that? With a fat $200,000. Well, I was thinking... Wait, what? Damn, I skipped that. He was thinking about something. Oh, the Tiger's really a good salesman, huh? Yeah, and if I want to sell this case, I need to copy him. How about you hit him with a fat piece of evidence, boss? I wish it was that easy. Alright, let's just try this. Whereabouts is it? There it is. Mr. Tigra, you claim... Oh, he was thinking about a new car. Is that what he said? Right, okay, thank you. Yeah, I tapped a little too keenly and double tapped. Went straight past it. You claim you didn't know Mr. Glenelg, but it appears that Mr. Elg knew you. What? Mr. Elg left this little note on his calendar. Meet with the Tiger. And the date? December 3rd. December 3rd? That's the day of the murder. Thank you, Judge. Sharp as always. So, Mr. Tigra, I submit that you did indeed know one Mr. Glenelg, because on the very day of the incident, you met with him. And that suit, though, that's orange. Not bad, you's actually not bad. Sorry. I was just messing with you to see how good you were. Frigging bitch flies. Get out of here. Did you hear that, Nick? He said you're not bad. That's one compliment I can do without. Plus, he's lying through his teeth. Witness, please remember that you're under oath. Lies will not be tolerated. You was calling me a liar? Is that what you was doing? Uh-oh. So you're saying that you claim to have never seen that kid before is the truth? I said I'm dead serious. You'd better believe that's the truth. Huh. Then I'd say that gives me time to enjoy another cup of pure black magic. Bing! That is, while you testify for the court again, Mr. Tigra. Oh yes, would you mind indulging the court witness? You never actually met the victim? That's got to be a lie right there. It's time I nailed this guy. I ain't no liar, never met Glenelg. There was some lame guy with that name, though, wants to borrow cash from me. Set up a meeting with the guy at my office, tender lender. I waited for him around for him, but he never showed. I ain't never been to that Tribulations joint use here. We can fucking disprove that. There was a matchbook in his office from Tribulations. Of course he's been. That all seems perfectly logical. You'd arranged to meet with the victim, but he didn't show up. I've heard it's pretty hard to keep appointments when you're dead. Very well. You may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Didn't I tell you a big deal going down today? I ain't gonna make my bus now. I'm gonna have to take the express train. That bill's going straight to you, Wright. Well, you can send it from jail, bitch. Never met Glen Elg. I mean, this is entirely possible. We can press it, but we're going to get slapped every time we do, so... Just because Glen Elg had an appointment, it doesn't say on his calendar what for. It says meet him. Could be to pay it back, or it could be to take one out. We know it was to pay it back, but still, we have to prove it. And he says, the lame guy with that name wanted to borrow cash from me, set up the meeting at my office, waited but he never showed. Hello, Deepus, how are you? He ain't never been to Tribulations. I don't think that this guy would actually pronounce it as Tribulations. He would probably go Tribulations or something like that. I ain't never been to that Tribulations joint, you hear? Alright, well, bullshit. Actually, I want to press first. Let's just talk. Never? Not even once? Not even once. I was in my office that day that went down. I didn't put no poison in no kid's coffee, capiche? Do you think he really didn't meet Glen Elg? Not likely. Because I'm convinced this guy is behind the whole thing. So you mean that whole testimony he gave was a lie? I know, right, Maya? Shocking! Of course. So we can't afford to give him time to think of ways to plug the leaks in it. Gotta nail him while we still can. Good, just got dinner. Nice. Falafel with pasta, veggies, and lingonberry jam. Tasty. Sounds good. Glen Elg, so Scandinavian. It's also a palindrome. You can say it the same backwards as forwards. Yeah, lingonberry jam's nice. I haven't had some of that in ages. But now the IKEAs are open, so I can go get some. I suppose I could buy it on Amazon as well, though. There's tons of it out there. Right, so we're going to present the matchbook. Mr. Tigra, is there something you'd like to tell the court about these matches? Matches? What are you talking about? We found them in your office at Tenderlender. They're from that restaurant. If you've really never been to Tribulations before, what was a book of the restaurant's matches doing on your desk? You've been snooping around my stuff now too, wise guy. What are you, my ball and chain? Ain't no broad controlling me. Order, order. Well, witness. I think it's time you started telling us the truth, don't you? Oh, sorry, terribly sorry, forgive me. I ain't no pussycat. I don't go back on what I said, but okay. I was at the joint that day. What? But listen good, alright? I might have been there, but I still never met the kid. Well, well. Looks like an order just came in for another testimony. Shoo. I'm this close to proving it was him. Internet died. Oh no! What happened? We showed him the matchbook to show him that he had been to Tribulations because he said he has never been there. So now he's saying, well, I did go there, but I still didn't meet Glen Elg. He never showed up. So now he's got to testify about him going to the restaurant. So he did meet Glen Elg that day. He did put poison in his coffee. He must have. I was supposed to meet with the kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door to the joint, I saw one ugly scene. The guy was laid out over the table stiff as concrete. I figured if the police wasn't hot already, it's gonna be, so I split. I heard the cop sirens on my way out and went straight back to my office. Yeah, this is also the Phoenix wannabe, because when we went to his office and had a snoop around, he had a blue jacket on a coat hook, and that was on it. A badge made clearly out of corrugated cardboard, with a very badly drawn lawyer-style symbol on it. So he was the fake. I mean, look at that. You could easily mistake that for that, right? Obviously. I see. You didn't actually meet with him in the end then. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. Yes, Your Honor. Hold it. If I waits around here any longer, I ain't never gonna get normal express. No more stupid questions. Huh, no problem. There we go, there's another coffee. Anytime Mr. Tribulations presses you on something irrelevant, I'll see he pays a penalty. Mr. Godot, that's my job. Your job is to slam that little hammer of yours and call a guilty verdict. So do it. Yes, sir. The special express ain't cheap, right? Just so yous know, since yous paying. Oh, man. Doesn't the rule of law mean anything around here? Supposed to meet with that kid at the restaurant that afternoon. When I opened the door, saw the ugly scene. The guy was laid over the coffee stiff as concrete. The place wasn't hot already, it was gonna be, so he split, heard the cop sirens on his way out and went straight back to his office. How do we disprove this? Could we get him to tell us the time, perhaps? I've got to think about this. This is actually kind of not airtight, but we've got nothing concrete to whack him over the head with, have we? Let's have a look at our evidence again. So, the Doodle MC Bomber, and we know the disc, but we haven't come around to that yet. Whatever we press has to be incredibly relevant. So the ugly scene, the guy was laid out. Figured if the place wasn't hot, it was gonna be, so I split. Elg means moose in Norway? Oh, really? Cool. In Norwegian. Ah, right. I heard the cop's siren on the way out, went straight back to the office. Figured if the place wasn't hot... That's a good point, actually. Opened the door and he could see the scene. You're kind of right, because there is a divider in the way, look. So I'm going to press on this one. I was going to press this one anyway, because I was hoping we'd get a time from him, but you might be right. And it did take a while before the old man called the cops, yeah. But we would like to get a time frame of when that happened, you know? An ugly scene? What do you mean? The witness has already told us, Trite, which makes that question irrelevant. But, I limit myself to 17 cups of coffee during a trial, that's the rule. You better limit the number of times you take a penalty, Trite, or your guts will look like the inside of a chimney, ashen. Don't make me burn you again, Mr. Wright. Well, that's bullshit. Alright. Let's try the first one. I'm just going to have to go through them all, because this is a guessing game now. There's nothing concrete that I know specifically is what I'm supposed to ask about. But the meeting wasn't due to take place at Tenderlender at all then. Kid was making a fuss about coming into the office. It's always that way when I want to talk about my repayments. Even though I got the best punching bag you ever seen, if there's any issues. Maybe it's because of the punching bag that people are scared to come. So that's why you decided to meet at Tribulations. Huh. You're going over old ground again, Trite. I don't know which way these are gonna go when I ask them. You earned yourself a penalty, now suck it down. You will suck down the penalty, Mr. Wright, and you will like it, bitch. Damn, just getting all gangster. Thank you, sir. May I have another? I'm just gonna scum the shit out of this. See, you have no way of knowing which way the question's gonna go when you press it. I don't know how Phoenix is going to press it. To me, I would be like, when was that? What time? You know, that's what I want to know. The guy was laid out stiff as concrete. I mean, I'm not going to press that one. That one's obvious. I figured if the place wasn't hot, it was going to be, so I split. I'm going to go with this one. Well, that's the thing, but I don't know if I should press that, press to get more info first, or if I should present the evidence. So I'm just pressing first to see what we get. I mean, if in the end, I'm probably going to just present the floor plan and say, nope, you couldn't have seen it. You went straight back. Did a bout of guilt suddenly hit you from what you did? What you's trying to say? You's trying to tell me you've never been guilty of nothing? We all have our crosses to bear. We all have to swallow the dark secrets we hide, like this. Courtroom's not exactly the place to talk about dark secrets, is it? Well, yes. It seems you've done it again, Mr. Wright. Another irrelevant line of questioning. Cough. Ay, ay, ay. Alright, fine. Well, I'm just gonna present something then. I mean, I should be able to press at least one of these statements. I'm gonna press the last couple. You mean you saw Glenn Elg's dead body? I guess I did, but I only saw him from behind. There we go. You see, we need to work it around to what we know in order for us to be able to progress. He was wearing some raggy bit of clothes he called a hat. And what time was this? Finally! The fucking time! I don't know. Huh? You know what winds me up more than anything else in the world? Watchers. Round watchers. I ain't gonna pollute my paws with some ticking henpecker. Out of interest, Mr. Tigro, what winds you up the second most, huh? What do you think? Square watchers. Oh my god. Hello, Louise. How are you? Had a busy day today. Excellent. I hope it was a good busy day. Yeah, just watchers in general. The guy doesn't like watchers. Is this guy for real? Look, all I need to know was that something bad was going down in that place. Alright, so we got that one. But it didn't amend the testimony. I'm just going to press this last one for the sake of science. So you didn't actually set foot in the restaurant then. The tiger's a busy cat. I don't hang around for no one. I ain't got time to be caught up in no murder investigation. So, when exactly did you pick up the matches? There are matches just inside the front door. Our detective friend wound up in trouble with the chef after taking $5 home. Gumshoe. Poor Gumshoe. It's almost enough to make a man cry. Maybe he needed them to cook things on. Poor guy. Alright, so... now we're going to present the floor plan. And say he couldn't possibly have just looked inside from the front door and seen the guy dead where that red X is, because there's a partition in the way that goes like all the way to the roof, or just about. It's high. It's, you know, man-sized at the very least. Just managed to sort a few jobs that needed attention. Managed to do the tip 2. I think this week is going to be a full one. Oh dear. You can cook weenies on matches? Probably, but the guy, he only has instant noodles. I don't think he can even afford meat at this point, that poor guy. He'd be lucky to afford weenies. Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. I've got a bad neck. I'm probably going to finish early today, because my neck's been really stiff, and it's getting worse, like the last couple of days, so yeah. So I'll probably finish in about an hour at most. We'll see how we go. Alright, well, I'm going to present this. There we go. You're something of a loan-collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigra? No one escapes the Tigra's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie-detecting pro. And no one escapes the Phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight. What's this, Wright? A new line of irrelevant questioning? These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigra. From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this. Indeed, the witness would have had a clear view of the victim's seat. Isn't that just what I said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Did catch it off her. Yeah, that's the thing. When my neck stops hurting, hers starts to hurt, and when hers eases, mine doesn't. She said she still had a bit of a stiff neck the other day, but she's, you know, it worked out a little bit, so unfortunately for you, that's not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition. Why, that's true. Look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any other customer walking in ends here. So, from the entrance of Tribulations, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day because you met with him. Wrong. Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. Have you forgotten half an hour ago, Godot, when we proved that that was also half an hour after Glenelg actually died? The chef himself actually testified to that. It's now on record. The defense just proved that point to be moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glenelg, but a fake. What? In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade. Oh, right. So it was actually... I was wondering who they could have gotten to do this, whether it was Tigra or not, but Tigra actually did it himself. Interesting. He faked the dead Glenelg. That will do. This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glenelg and then impersonated the victim in the performance for Victor Kudo. In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of the criminal to the court. See, here's the thing as well. He has a scar over his eye, but Glenelg has that covering over his eye. So the old man might not have even seen that. And with the beanie hat on, he wouldn't have seen the weird hairdo either. And yes, we should probably... I can't save. It's thrown me into this forced evidence thing, so I can't save it. I mean, the only other person it could have been was Furio Tigra, because Viola was the one doing the fake poisoning. She was playing the part of the waitress. No way he pulls that off. Oh, the granddad, yeah. They called the most important mob boss in the city down to say, could you just impersonate a guy that we killed? Thanks. The killer is Furio Tigra. No one else could have done it. What? Well, witness? Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you don't understand. The tiger is a king of the jungle. So I dare you to say it again. Come on. You got the guts. You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigra. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. I'm hiding. Mr. Wright? Sounds to me like it must be you, old man, because you've got guts, I'll give you that. Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone. Oh, how the worm has turned. You leave me to handle everything alone, Judge. Perhaps I can end this embarrassment. Mr. Godot? There it is, another coffee. Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't see just the victim. Oh, no, no, no. The serving girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there. What the victim he saw was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains he saw the accused put poison in the coffee. Could have been sugar. Yes, it was the waitress who poisoned the coffee. Very impressive, Mr. Godot. Oh, ta-da! Hello. Waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Huh. Found your pen at last, Wright. It was in my pocket. Sorry. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenelg, and the waitress from behind. Yes, your point, Mr. Wright. I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenelg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show. What? You mean the waitress was an imposter as well? The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident, and someone used her fainting to hatch an elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed? I mean, obviously, it's Viola Cadaverini. Who is this woman? Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tenderlender. He's making a big mistake. Don't you know who Violetta's grandfather is? You better be going home in an armored truck tonight if you know what I mean. Stop shaking, Nick. Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, has stated the following. Well, when I took the coffee over to the victim's table, it's true there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy. That's right. It's not just that there was another person at the table. She said there was someone else in the restaurant, and it was a she. I did wonder about that. It was a she, wasn't it the old crotchety dude? She had a kind of cackling laugh. Describes Viola to a T. There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table, who nobody but Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece worn by the victim in his left ear when that eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. Question is, where did she get the uniform? The chef Armstrong is complicit in this. He helped them stage this whole thing. He's already admitted to it. But he held short of pointing complete fingers. He didn't describe the murder, but he did say he helped hide the body and Maggie. So what he probably did was give her a spare uniform, because he would have had those there, right, for other staff members. So he's complicit, and he would have given Viola Cadaverini a uniform to wear to pretend to be a waitress. There's only one logical explanation that clears up all of these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice, once for real and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you. Witness, what have you got to say for yourself? That's cute. Sorry? You's all right. I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get me to my meeting now, but I'm gonna give you one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about? You've got it all wrapped up nice, huh, right? But you've missed out one real important thing. But that can't be. I was in the joint that day, and I met the kid too. Case and I have confessed to lying twice. But I couldn't have poisoned him, you's hear? What? Do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigra? Huh. What a troublemaker. Troublemaker. I was waiting for that. Looks like we're going to need another one for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony. Indeed. Witness, will you explain yourself to the court? I will give you one more chance to testify. What happened the day at Tribulations between yourself and the victim? So he's practically now admitted to lying twice. Yeah, I loaned Elg the cash, about $100,000, which tracks. That day we was due to have a little chat. The kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming, yeah, I won $500,000. He got lucky, you know, real lucky. If that witness hadn't done what she'd done, everything would have been over. Yeah, that's kind of a solid argument, though. It's like, so he won enough money to pay him back, so he had no reason to kill him. That is true. Now, I see that the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Elg was about $50,000. Yeah, well, you got the VIG to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know. That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal. And the repayment deadline was 3rd of December on the day of the incident in question. Yep, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. So I ain't have no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. His motive. He has to have one, but what is it? So, this is where the MC Bomber thing's gonna come in, right? Because here we have $100,000 crossed out an MC Bomber with a line going to it, as if to say, give him this. And he wanted this because it's worth millions. So it's still a motive. The hospital bill, that's nothing to do with this guy. Well, actually, I guess it is, though. He does have a motive. That's part of this. That is actually part of this, you're right, because the hospital bill is $1 million. He owes $1 million on a hospital bill for Viola. And $100,000, well, that doesn't get him very close to that. But getting a virus worth millions will be. And then suddenly the kid gets $500,000. Suddenly has no reason to give the guy the virus, instead he gives him the cash, but that's not what he needs. He needs money now, because that hospital bill was this happened pretty much the same day, right? This was in December as well. This was at the beginning of December when all this happened. So yeah, so how do we get this to point to this then? I loaned Elg the cash, about $100,000. The day we were due to have a little chat, the kid had hit his payback date. He tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy, he starts screaming, won $500,000, got real lucky. Everything would have been over. So we can only press very specifically a few things, I guess. Let's try this one. We're probably going to have to trial and error this one as well. How much were you expecting him to pay you back on the day? What do you think? The whole package, $100,000 including interest. That's a real heavyweight punch. Once a client misses a repayment, you call the whole loan in. You want to make it in my world, that's what you gotta know. And how many times had Mr. Elg been late with his repayments? Once. And how much was he supposed to pay back every month? $50. Sounds like Mr. Elg was in a real sticky pot. Yeah, $50 a month, he'd never pay that huge loan off. Exactly. Tells him he's got no way to pay up. That true? How much did he have left on his debt? You want it in round figures, $100,000. $50 on 50,000? Where can I get that? Exactly. So that's the whole amount. We're talking about a guy who has 58 cents in his wallet. What, you telling me he wasn't even going to pay for the coffee? He certainly seems to have been a brave man, this Mr. Elg. That guy was smooth, I tell you, real smooth. You'll have your money in less than 5 minutes, that's what he said to me. The guy then calls the tender tiger. He was skating on thin ice with me. Oh my god, he called this guy the tender tiger? Nice.